Are your emotions getting the best of you? And you really want to get to a place where you can vent your emotions wisely? Well, join me in this video because today we're going to talk about the pitfalls of unchecked emotions and how you can vent your emotions wisely and also make sure they don't impact your relations. But what sparked this video came from a verse from my daily proverb reading, which is Proverbs 29:11. The scripture reads, "Fools give full vent to their spirit or emotions, but the wise bring calm in the end." Proverbs 29:11 says again, "Fools give full vent to their spirit or emotions, but the wise bring calm in the end." This verse is very key and is very beneficial in our day and age because a lot of us, we are emotional and we live in an emotionalized culture. Emotionalism has ran rampant in our world today. People are not taking the time to think. People are not taking the time to process their emotions. A lot of people live off their emotions. They do what they feel. And so this video really is going to spread wide to a lot of us to help us better understand why we should not give our emotions or our spirit a full vent. And so I want to go ahead and define what it means giving full vent to our spirit or emotions, as well as why is it not wise to vent to everyone. And then we're going to talk about 5 emotions that you and I should not give full vent to. Now, let's define giving full vent. Giving full vent to your spirit means expressing your emotions without restraint or moderation. Giving full vent to your spirit means expressing your emotions without restraint or moderation. It's very important that we have a framework, a funnel, a mental system that processes our experiences, neutralize our emotions to make sure that when we express, we're expressing from wisdom and not wrath. Giving full vent to your spirit means expressing your emotion without restraint or moderation, often in an uncontrolled or unrestrained manner. It involves allowing your feelings to overwhelm you, leading to impulsive or rash actions that may not be productive or beneficial in the long run. How many of us have been guilty of that, and how many of you are guilty of that now? I've been guilty of it many times in my life. I remember playing basketball at the downtown YMCA. And because I was extremely competitive, and because basketball in today's age can be very volatile and very disrespectful, I began to play ball extremely competitive. And as I was competing this one basketball game about 6 years ago, a gentleman called me a BAN. You could put the words in there if you know what I mean. And because I was giving him buckets and he wanted to get in my head, I grabbed him by the shirt and began to give my spirit full vent. And at the moment I gave my spirit full vent, I looked around the YMCA, and you can see the gentlemen and ladies in half treadmill stopped in mid treadmill looking at the altercation. I began to realize, yo, Josh, what is the root reason of why you gave your spirit full vent? I had to take a step back and not play ball in that environment anymore because I wasn't ready. And I began to look back at my life and begin to say, why am I so competitive? Why am I trying to prove that I still got it at 35, at 34? Then I begin to realize that that emotion stemmed from the need to prove, for validation. When I used to play ball in high school, I was the rebound guy. I would take the charges. I would always try to prove that I am better than what people perceive. And because I was overlooked a lot in high school and because I was picked on for this, it built up this chip on my shoulder where every time I'm in a place of early on in ministry where I was speaking or in a basketball court, I felt like I had to prove myself. And because that emotion wasn't checked, and because that wasn't processed the right way, it sprouted out in competitive environments. And so what I'm saying is that when we have no checks and balances and no restraints or boundaries, we'll begin to give areas of our lives full vent without the proper systems. It says giving full vent to your spirit means expressing your emotions. Now, let me make sure I make this clear. There's nothing wrong with expressing your emotions. but there's a way God designed for us to express our emotions, guarded by a mind that is anchored and has systems. Let's talk about why it's not wise to vent just to anyone. It's not wise to vent or express your feelings or emotions to just anyone. Hear me closely, because not everyone is equipped to handle or understand your emotions in a constructive way. So some of us, we go to our friends, go to our family, and we give full vent and we vent to them. And these individuals are not equipped to handle certain emotions. They may be good at one emotion with sadness, but they may not be able to tolerate your anger. And some of us, because we don't have those areas full check, we become overwhelming. Venting to the wrong person can lead to gossip. Now you done gave your full vent about a friend of yours. You gave a full vent about a cousin of yours. You gave a full vent about someone else that they know, and that person can't hold water. And now they took your full vent and then went and then caused a dent in your relationship. Venting to the wrong person can lead to gossip, also can lead to misunderstandings or further exacerbations of the situation, meaning that it enhances what could have been easily neutralized. How many of us, we gave our spirit full vent, and the argument, which could have been just an agree to disagree, or argument which could have been neutralized by a point, is now exacerbated to the point to where now y'all both hating each other, not liking each other, etc. Also can lead to misunderstandings, because when your spirit giving full vent, you start saying words you didn't want to be heard. You begin to voice opinions that was meant to be vented in a different way. And then all of a sudden, now a person is hearing your full spirit, how you feel about a thing, and you haven't really processed it to see if you even truly feel that way. Now that person is hurt or is swallowed up in misunderstandings. Additionally, sharing personal emotions with someone who may not have the best interests, have your best interest at heart, can result in betrayal or exploitation of your vulnerabilities. So we have to vent wisely, because not everybody is there. Not everybody are vaults. I tell people, when you're venting or expressing, you have to understand that not everybody are vaults. Some people are vultures. Not everybody are vaults. Some people are vultures. A vulture likes to surround dead, decaying conversations, like to surround dead and decaying emotions, and they eat off of that, and they thrive off of that, and they feed others off of that, and they thrive with others knowing that. A vault is an individual who can hold and pray for you, who can hold what you're sharing and share God's wisdom with you and help you navigate. Therefore, it's important to choose trusted individuals who can provide support, empathy, and constructive feedback when venting. Let's keep going. Now, here are the 5 emotions that you and I should never give full vent to. Nothing wrong with in wise situations and trusted situations to give a partial vent. But sometimes before you vent, you have to go, you have to I don't want to play on words like this, but you have to vent before you vent. I went to God before I vented to y'all, right? We'll get to that in a minute. Now, here are 5 emotions that we should not give full vent to, and the consequences if we do. Number 1 is anger. Full venting of anger can lead to shouting, insults, and aggression, causing fear and hurt in relationships. It may result in arguments, breakdowns in communication, and even physical harm. The Bible says, be angry, but sin not. Be angry, but sin not. Nothing wrong with having emotions. The issue is when emotions have us. And a lot of us are walking around one trigger away of exploding, one trigger away shooting back, one trigger away. And if we don't have the right thinking processes and systems in place, then when certain emotions rise because of an experience or an environment, then you'll give that emotion full vent. You'll give that emotion full gas, full propane. You'll get it full thrust. And all of a sudden now it causes damage. So be angry, but you got to take that anger somewhere else. You got to vent that anger. We're going to give you a framework at the end of this video to help you properly vent and express your emotions when emotions are trying to peak. Full venting of anger can lead to shouting, insults, and aggression, causing fear and hurt in relationships. It may result in arguments, breakdown in communication. There we go. When you're giving anger full vent, especially husbands to wives, and you begin to give that emotion full vent, now the goal that you desire to have after communicating what you feel then begins to break down the communication. Now the other person is offended. Now the other person is dwelling on misunderstandings, confused by misunderstandings. Now the individual is now caught up in a web that it could have been prevented if we were more wise. So when you're angry, for instance, man, you think marriage is easy? There's been plenty of times where in arguments we gave our viewpoints and our voice a full vent. Now we have systems. I leave. When I begin to see that the communication is breaking down, I begin to see that we're both tired and we are not in the right cognitive and vibrant place of body, cognitively soundness of mind, and we're tired. We have to go to our corners because we know that humans going back and forth, and me and my wife, we be having intellectual battles, and those ones are even worse. Strong intellectual points making sense, but we don't want to make sense. So you know what I'm saying? But without those system checkpoints, and listen, that's an area that we all must work on. Number two, emotion that we shouldn't give full vent to is frustration. When fully vented, hear me, when fully vented, you done gave it a full vent. Frustration can manifest as impatience, irritability, and criticism. This can strain relationships by making others feel unappreciated or inadequate, leading to resentment and distance. So some of us, we reside in frustration. We live in frustration. We live in the nation of frustration. We just frustrated. Work is making us frustrated. Marriage is making us frustrated. Parenting is making us frustrated. All these things are making us frustrated, but frustration must be filtered. If not, when fully vented, it can manifest as constant impatience. Now, all of a sudden, you enter the home impatient. You enter the home irritable. You enter the home criticizing. So that's why it's important before I even get home, I work on this, that I filter my frustration out because my wife don't deserve to be served something that it bothers me to that degree. That's why a long rise from home is the detox and filter your frustrations, because you don't want to enter the house impatient, irritable. You don't want to enter the house criticizing, because this can strain relationships by making others feel unappreciated or inadequate, leading to resentment and distance. So when frustration is fully vented continuously, it creates this in your significant other as well as your children. Now all of a sudden they don't want to be around you because relationships require patience. Relationships requires us having our own emotional regulation strategies, etc. The third emotion that we should never give full vent to is sadness. Fully venting sadness might involve withdrawing emotionally, expressing hopelessness, or being overly dependent on others for support. This can burden relationships, making others feel helpless or overwhelmed by the emotional weight. Sadness can be weighty. Emotions can be weighty, and they will wear down those who have to deal with you. That's why when you sad, when you sad, immediately turn to glad. Where there's sadness, go to gladness. Because if you don't go to gladness, you're going to go to madness. And so, yeah, it's okay to be sad, but not long. It's okay to be frustrated, but not long. It's okay to be angry, but not long. And the more we practice gassing these emotions, fueling these emotions, venting these emotions, man, we hinder motion. We hinder movement in our relationships. We hinder movement in our businesses and our success pursuits. This can burden relationships, making others feel helpless or overwhelmed by the emotional weight. Don't be too heavy for those who hold you. Don't be too heavy for those who love you. Let's keep going. Next, number 4, jealousy. Giving full vent to jealousy can lead to possessiveness, distrust, and accusations. This can create tension and insecurity in relationships, eroding trust and intimacy over time. Listen, a lot of people in relationships, friendships, or whatever, they give full vent to their jealousy. And full vent to jealousy or certain emotions don't necessarily have to be heard by other individuals. This can be silent venting. When that person not around and you allowing jealousy to grab you, leading to possess. Now you're possessive over your relationship, possessive over your children, possessive over your child's career. You're jealous that your child is more talented and whatever, and then it leads to distrust and accusations. This can create tension and insecurity in relationships, eroding trust and intimacy over time. For time's sake, I'll keep going. Number 5, another emotion that you and I should not give full vent to is resentment. Fully venting resentment may involve harboring grudges, constantly bringing up past grievances, or engaging in passive-aggressive behavior. This can poison relationships, breeding bitterness and resentment in both parties. Hurt people hurt people. And so when you begin to look at these different emotions, you begin to look at yourself and say, okay, which of these emotions am I giving full vent to? Now, let's talk about what happens when we do give these emotions our full vent and the consequences that occur. Number 1, I spelled vent, V-E-N-T. Going back to the scripture for those who are just joining, Proverbs 29:11 says, fools give full vent to their spirit or emotions, but the wise bring calm in the end. The wise people, they have the end in mind. Wise people, they have extend in mind. The wise people, they have blend in mind. I'd rather us be blended than always defended or defensive. I'd rather for us to end this so that we can extend what it is that God wants to do. Now, 4 things real quickly that happens when we give our spirits full vent. Number 1, volatile reactions. See, my friend, when you give your spirit full vent, you control your actions, but you can't control people's reactions. That's why you can't just be popping off on everybody. That's why you just can't be yelling at everybody. That's why you can't just be moping and around everybody. There's a reason why you can't always be frustrated, because you control your actions, but you can't always control people's reactions. Volatile reactions. Giving full vent to your spirit often leads to volatile and uncontrollable emotional reactions, which can escalate conflicts and damage relationships. So we have to get a better grip on our emotions and how we express them, because we can't dictate how people feel. And all of a sudden, you can't get mad when your wife is distant. You can't get mad when your husband is distant. You can't get mad, for instance, if your wife is distant and you always come home complaining. You always come home criticizing. You always come home all about you. You can't get mad if your husband is distant when all you do is talk about you. All you want is excessive time, and because of your own insecurities. You can't get mad when your husband is distant because all you do is complain. All you do is yell at him and talk down him. You can't get mad if your kids don't want to be around you and you have to force them to give you hugs because all you do is express full vent. You can't get mad when friends are quick to leave you because of your lack of reaction. So you always volatile. People don't want to go out with you. People don't want to go to restaurants with you because how you treat the servers. People don't want to be around you because you bring clouds to a sunshiny day. You can control your actions, but you can't control people's reactions. Escalation of conflict. Venting without restraint can exacerbate disagreements or misunderstanding, leading to further conflict rather than solution. So now, when you begin to fully vent and have your emotion, and I just got to say what I got to say, I got to share how I feel, great. But there has to be a process with that, because if not, you will escalate the situation versus bringing a solution. How many marital arguments, friendship arguments, arguments with children, arguments wherever, or disagreements occur because people care about their point being made versus there being a bond being made? Are we trying to get to a solution? Next, negative impact. Unbridled venting can have negative consequences on both oneself and others, fostering an atmosphere of negativity and resentment. Negative impact. It could be silent or it can be violent. Temporary relief. While venting may provide temporary relief, it rarely addresses the underlying issues or bring about lasting solutions. Temporary relief. You vented and you feel good temporarily, but you didn't deal with the root issue. You didn't deal with the root reason of why you're venting. A lot of us, we're upset and we blame others, and our upsettedness is based upon us being victims. And so when you begin to think about the consequence of venting and the consequence of expressing your emotions, you will begin to say, okay, I gotta create a system. I gotta create something that helps me neutralize these emotions, having them, but them not having us, not being so easily triggered by people, and where you're able to regulate your emotions in real time so that you'll be able to advance in your life without unnecessary conflict or internal damage in relationships. And all of a sudden now you're dealing with resentment and regret. Now, here is a 4-step system that I created and I put a lot of people through in my coaching. I'll pull out the bag, my toolkit when I'm coaching, that I give people is vent. This is a framework that you can use to help you better vent your emotions so that you're able to be sent. Vent to be sent back into your marriage, to be sent back with your children, to be sent back. You don't want to be set back, you want to be sent back. And that's what venting does. This framework will help you with. Number one, of course, I spell vent, V-E-N-T. Number one, vent to God first. Every time you have high emotions, every time you feel emotions rising, whether they are emotions in the moment when you're really triggered, you got to begin to say, okay, I'm going to walk away from the situation and I'm not going to harbor this situation or the emotions that came with it, but I'm a vent that thing through God, because he'll give me the perspective and the peace needed to make peace with anyone that may, whoever. But also for those who have silent issues or concerns or silently bubbling volcanic like emotions that's about to erupt, and you know you are 1 or 2 weeks out from really shouting out and expressing volatility, you got to vent to God first. It says, begin by pouring out your emotions to God in prayer. God, I hate this about my marriage. I hate this about parenting. I hate this. Like, I'm not saying me, but I'm saying for you or all of us. I do this all the time when it comes to anything that bothers me. I go to God and be like, God, I'm pissed off about this. I'm upset about this. I even vent to God about my emotions about God. God, I ain't feeling you right now. God, why are you got me going through this? I don't like you right now. I'd rather vent to God and still be in his presence than to hold my emotions towards God and leave his presence. Vent to God first about your husband. Vent to God first about your wife. Vent to God first about your children. Vent to God first about your boss. Vent to God first about your coworker. Vent to God first about your friend. Vent to God first about your hater or your enemy or who crossed you and however they crossed you. Vent to God first. Begin by pouring out your emotions to God in prayer. Share your feelings openly and honestly, knowing that God is a compassionate listener who understands your struggle. See, God is a God of truth. And God is not a God of truth to the degree where he's like, always want to rebuttal what you say. He is so truthful but compassionate that even if you're mad at him, he understands why you're mad. Fam, God probably like, I would be mad at me too. Pruning is not easy, son. Pruning is not easy, daughter. So God, when you understand that he is a compassionate listener who understands your struggle. The Bible says Jesus was tempted at every point but did not sin. The Bible says Jesus is our high priest who has experienced everything we experience so that he can be able to intercede for us. So having a strong relationship with God is key, because even when you're pissed off, even when you upset, you can vent to God. Begin pouring. I'm talking about pour that, like open your heart out and give him the full vent. Why? Because God's hands is able to handle the hottest concerns of yours, the hottest issue. See, for instance, not everybody has the ability to handle the hottest concerns of your life. That's too hot. I can't handle that. That's too heavy. That like that's too much. God is the only one that says, "Come on to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." Heavy laden means heavy laden with emotions. Number one, V, vent to God first. E, express yourself. Dun 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 dun. Express yourself. Find a safe and supportive outlet to express your emotions, whether it's through journaling, talking to a trusted friend, or engaging in a creative activity like art or music. I help my students with this all the time. Hey, go talk to God, great. But now when you come out of the presence with God, get a sheet of paper, draw, sing, play an instrument, do your thing. That helps get it helps with your brain, it helps with your mental health, it helps with your stability of soul. Express yourself, man. I go right to writing. I go right to drawing. I like lifting heavy. There's different outlets God wants you to have, that when you come out of his presence, you can then now go express it, because you'll be surprised what can be birthed out of a venting session with God. Because the pain you going through, if you enter that into your outlets, you'll be surprised what book comes out of it, what song comes out of it, what creative expression comes out of it. So you have to have a place to express yourself. Journaling is big. A lot of people that I talk to, they're big with journals. So I'll give them journal prompts. I'll help them, right? And navigate solutions. After you done vented to God, after you done express yourself, now it's time to navigate solutions. After venting, take time to reflect on the root causes of your emotions and consider constructive solutions. Identify practical steps you can take to address the underlying issues and work towards resolution. It's not wise to only go vent to God and never go to the root issue. God is going to lead you through that. First off, he's going to have you vent to him so you can get at least the hottest parts off your chest. Then the rest that's left on your chest is now expressed. And now after you done express, now you said, okay, I don't want to relive this. I don't want to damage these people. I don't want to damage myself with my emotions, and no matter which ones they are. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to navigate the solutions. What is the root reason of why I'm doing this? And what are some practical steps and constructive ways for me to get this out of the way of my life? Thank y'all so much for joining us. A lot of people watching. Go ahead and like, share, all that good stuff. I pray if you guys rock with me still, that means it's a good video. And if it's good for you, I know it's good for someone that you love. T, take care. Take care. Number one, V, vent to God. Number two, express yourself. Number three, N, navigate solutions. T, take care. Finally, prioritize self-care to nurture your emotional well-being. Practice relaxation techniques. Engage in activities that bring you joy, and seek professional help if needed. Remember to extend grace to yourself as you navigate through difficult emotions. You cannot be a perfectionist while being healed from this. Give grace to yourself. This is going to take time. Because dealing with grandma, dealing with granddaddy's passing, dealing with mama drama, dealing with daddy not being there, dealing with that ex and that breakup. There's a lot of stuff in there, in our spirit, in our soul, that's toxic, that we have to really unpack. And that's why I said seek professional help, seek coaching. Go get manicures, pedicures, Go do something that you enjoy. And while you're enjoying it, allow the joy of the Lord to fill your soul so that you can be made whole. And so I hope this video was a blessing to you. Again, the framework that I have for this is, and I don't have a worksheet for you right now. So just simply just take this message to heart and play your part and watch God heal those areas or show you or teach you how to process your emotions. Resource that I think will be a blessing to you that will help you in regards to this is Facts Over Feelings. Let me find the book. Facts Over Feelings is a great book to help you process your feelings. It's a feelings journal. It helps you process your feelings to get back to the facts so that you can get back to fulfilling. The best feelings of life is fulfilling. And a lot of us are full of feelings, but we're not fulfilling. So the goal is to make sure that we process our feelings so we can get back to fulfilling our roles as a husband, our roles as a wife, our roles as parents, etc. Also, another resource that I think would be a great resource for you is Counterfeit or Counterpart. Also, this book right here would be good, The Purpose of Freedom. A lot of us, the reason why it's hard for us to not give our spirits full vent is because we have soul ties. We have strongholds. This book will give you practical steps and strategies to understand the purpose of freedom so that you'll be able to walk in freedom, fully filtered and able to filter any new emotions that may arise. And The Purpose of Relationships is a great book. I talk about some of these points in there. And also Relationship Mastery, my group coaching program, which starts in June. Give you guys a month to get in there. Will be a great resource if you really need help and better relating to God, relating yourself, relating to others so that you'll be able to know how to engage emotionally, being emotionally available, and also being emotionally stable so that you'll be able to navigate relationships strongly. Also, Mindset Mastery be another great resource for you. If you like, Coach, I got too many mental blockers, too many mental strongholds that's got a strong hold on me, causing me emotional, but I want to experience a transformation of being mentally clear so I can be mentally creative. And for those of them who's interested in relationship mastery, you say, hey, Coach, I want that transformation where I'm able to relate better to my wife, to better relate to my husband, to better relate to those people in my life, especially God and myself, so that I'm able to be emotionally stable for those in my life. Those resources in my description box below. And so you can check those things out. Nubian Soul Child said, this video helped so much. I'm so glad that it did. I'm glad you're taking notes with it. Joanne Tilbury says, thank you. You are appreciating your words. Help me and others. God gets the glory. I'm so glad that this video was a blessing. My cousin says, sing, cuz listen, hey, it's a joyful noise. It's a noise, but it's joyful to the Lord. Let's answer a couple of questions. I got to get to my Mindset Mastery program. We start at 8 o'clock, and I got a great class for them. To learn more how you can be a part of that, check out links in the description box below. And so you can learn about my other communities and as well as other coaching opportunities for you to get the support that you need and a transformation that you desire. Living Adventure says, if you feel doubts about someone, what does it mean? Listen to it. Why do you have doubts? Where are the doubts stemming from? Are the doubts stemming from because you recognize something subconsciously or consciously, but there's some emotional issues or insecurities that still having you hold on to someone? That's why your reason, there should be a reason why you're still with anyone. I always tell people who come to me about this, especially students, I always ask them, give me three good reasons why you with this person. Give me 3 good reasons why you're considering this person. Give me 3 solid reasons. And I want you to do that as well. Write down 3 solid reasons about why you doubt that person. But what does it mean? It means that there's a lack of trust and they have proven themselves not trustworthy at the standard that you are observing them by. And that means it should give you time to either consult God and trust what you initially felt. A lot of us, we get into situations where we and I've been there, where God clearly told me no about this person. But because that I didn't get certain things out of me, insecurities, unworthiness, etc., then when I get myself too deep in it, now I begin to see the doubts and now I want out. And so begin to process that from that vantage point. 3 solid reasons why you should be with this person, or why are you doubting them? And it's okay to have doubts about someone. But if you're having a hard time dealing with those doubts, then you got to look deep inside and ask yourself, why is it that I want to be with this person, or want to still be close in some kind of way? And then you'll begin to see what you and God need to work on, to eliminate those issues in your life. Nubian Soldier says, any tips for individuals facing criticism for their introverted nature? I find solace in my own company. I prefer being at home, and I'm not fond of large gatherings. My family critiques my choices, suggesting at 28 I should be more outgoing and seize life. However, I cherish my solitude and only socialize when essential. How can I deal with judgments about my personality? See, oftentimes people want you to be what they want you to be for their benefit alone. And some people just simply don't understand introverted behavior. And some people just don't understand the relatability required to make everyone feel received, welcomed, and loved about based on their own uniqueness, right? And so, practical ways on how you can deal with the judgment is realizing that it's misjudgment, that they're judging from a place that's not balanced, that's not fully understanding you, right? And sometimes you don't have to explain to people. And the best way to explain to people on what you're doing in life is to explain to them with your distance. If they're constantly judging you, then remove yourself from them. It's that simple. When people are judging and they're misjudging, and you begin to feel that those individuals are only saying these different things to manipulatively get you doing certain things, then it may be time to remove yourself. But also consider what they're saying. Sometimes it's okay to consider, okay, maybe there is some truth in it, but what I've read from you is that you are mature with this. You're saying, hey, I find solace in my own company. I prefer being at home, and I'm not fond of large gatherings. And you say your family critiques your choices, and they feel that by 28 you should be more outgoing and seize life. Well, sometimes honestly, you've already seized your life. Anytime you at peace, don't worry about people's 2 cents. Some people's 2 cents is not enough for your time. You could barely buy anything from 2 cents. You got to talk to people that got dollars of opinion, people that can afford for you to pay your attention, right? They can afford it. They're able to say, hey, I respect that you do that. And in that place of solitude, there's guidance from God. So how to deal with judgments about your personality? Really, first you got to understand that this is your personality. This is how God wired you, and that's okay. That is okay to be yourself. I'm introverted. I know y'all probably like, man, coach, yeah. I don't like a lot of gather. I don't like big crowds like that. I don't when I remember my wife, we'll go to the mall, we'll go shopping, and when we was early on married, she was like, "You okay?" I'm like, man, my spirit is sensitive, my soul is sensitive, and I can feel a room. And people don't understand that about you, possibly that you need that solace, you need that solitude. Because how you dealt with everyone's attitude and help people reach new altitudes, that takes work. And now you got to go back to your whole. So you have to be okay with being you. Secondly, you may have to remove yourself if it's affecting your mental health. And thirdly, just enjoy God and how He wired you, and go from there. Hope to help. Living says, if you have doubts about a guy, what does that mean? It might just mean it's not your guy. I think we already, okay, good. Tanya says, that is true. You can't. She agrees, right? We can get mad. Yep. This is good. Keandra Bird says, Tanya says, right, because it's going to come back up if we haven't dealt with that. Exactly. It's only going to sprout back up. Nothing but facts. This is awesome. Let's see what else we got. Tanya says, I would like that help. Thank you for helping us. Yeah, Tanya, let me know. Reach out to me, Tanya. I would love to help you. Hebrew Harris says, I was told by a friend that I was going to be with someone, but the last 3 times he said the Lord will bless me with the individual. I gotten hurt. How do you know if prophecy is really from God? Also, will God make you be with someone you don't want to be with? I'm a single Christian man with no kids and want someone with no kids. Okay, good. Let's go to your first question. I was told by a friend that I was going to be with someone, But the last 3 times he said, the Lord will bless me with the individual, I gotten hurt. How do you know if prophecy is really from God? I tell people when it comes to prophecy, is that anytime someone speaks into your life, first off, you cannot always be open to everyone speaking in. First off, you have to be very careful on who you allow to speak in and over your life. You and I must be very careful on who we allow to speak in and over our life. When someone speaks into your life, you allowing them to get in to the deep areas, and you begin to hold on to that. You begin to harbor that. You begin to keep that in. And sometimes when you allow everyone to speak into your life, or you allow someone with the title to speak into your life, then all of a sudden, and a lot of people use prophecy as control, all of a sudden now you're going to follow that prophet. You're gonna make that prophet to a degree God, and you're going to be so looking for a prophet, looking for this and looking for that. I remember when I was in college, I was so dumb. Me and my friend Brandon, we said we just going to eat whatever we want to eat, because all we got to do is go into Benny Hinn's prayer line. We really was that dumb. We would say, you know what? We just gonna eat, because all we gotta do is find Benny Hinn. We ain't say nothing about God. We didn't say nothing about stewardship. We didn't say nothing about holistic health. We just said we're gonna eat what we want, because I'm gonna go find a Benny Hinn crusade. And because I know his daughter, I'm gonna be respectful on what I say about him. I mean, it is what it is, but I gotta be respectful because I do know, I went to school with his daughter, so I want to be respectful of that. But at the same time, that's the dumb thing. And so how do you know if prophecy is really from God? Prophecy only, hear me, prophecy only confirms what God already spoke to your life some kind of way. So if someone speaks in your life, it should be confirmation. It should not be new to you. It should not be new to you. If a person prophesies to you that someone's the one, chances are that ain't the one. Chances are. Prophecy has become emotionalized. Prophecy has become relationalized. Prophecy has been all about control for a lot of these circles. God will bless you with the right person as you become a blessing, able to bless that person. So you know that it's from God if it is confirming what God has already spoken to your life, what you've already sensed from God in your life, and it bears witness with your spirit. Anytime somebody prophesies, put it on the shelf. Time will always tell if that prophetic word is from God. Also, will God make you be with someone you don't want to be with? No. No. God will not make you. First off, God don't make us do anything. God will not force anything in your life. He'll put things that will naturally flow with your life. God ain't going to make you be with nobody you don't want to be with, because that's only going to cause more issues. So don't listen to these church folk and people that want you not to be single and want to force you married because they want some grandbabies, or they want some married friends to hang out with. Right? You got to be able to say, hey, God got me. And God is not going to bless you with someone that you don't want to be with. But you also got to check your heart and really begin to say, okay, no, what I mean by check your heart is make sure that you don't stereotype certain women and be like, I'll never be, because of ill reasons. But like you said, I'm a single Christian man with no kids and want someone, that is perfectly okay. And that's no knock to a woman with kids. Because trust me, a woman with kids do not want to be married to a man who don't want kids. Nor does a man want to be married, because not everybody has the grace for it. There are certain men out there that have grace for women with kids. And there are certain men who don't. There are certain men who only have grace for their kids, their seed. And there's nothing wrong with that. Hope that helps. You so welcome, Tanya. He is so true about that. Yes, it does. You will see it come to pass. Amen. Erica says, I agree. Prophets should confirm and edify. There we go. I believe you should ask God to sharpen your discernment. There we go. Help me, Erica. Appreciate it. Because if it's not right, it won't agree with your spirit. Simple as that. Tanya says, now it can be told and be the truth, but it doesn't mean it's going to come tomorrow. Everyone in the Bible had to wait for years. That's right. Newbie such as I also found it weird that I want to marry someone who was a little bit more outgoing than me, kind of the opposite, but not too much. If that makes sense. Yeah, opposites do attract. My wife is a little bit more sociable than I am. Early on in our dating and marriage, man, we had some issues because we didn't really communicate or knew how to communicate our personalities. And so when my wife and her family's huge, my family's small, and I'm introverted. So when we used to go to outings with her family, she would get offended when she began to notice that I was just kind of like restless, like I'm trying to go. And at the time, she didn't really understand why I was like that. I didn't even understand why I was like that at the time. But as I got older and mature, I began to realize, hey, I got to communicate this. That I have to communicate to her that it's not her family, it's not her. It's not that I don't want to be there. It just means my social battery is on E. Because not everybody knows people like us. People like us, man. People always come to us. I can't go nowhere without my food getting cold first. That's why I don't like eating around people. Because everybody want to sit down, and people don't really be asking, hey, coach, can I, is this a good time? People just sit down and start talking. And it's hard for me to eat and listen. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be like, man, sometimes I don't be wanting food with people because people have my food cold. You sitting there eating warm ribs, your mashed potatoes hot and fresh. By the time I put my spoon in my mashed potatoes, it's cold. And you know, cold mashed potatoes, that hurts. Cold fries hurt even worse. I'm tired of going to the microwave and warming my food up because I don't warm your soul up with encouragement. Anyway, I better go. I got to get ready for my mindset mastery class. Thank you all so much for joining me. Check out all my resource links in the description box below. Share this with a friend, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you for listening. And I pray that it was a blessing to you. Catch y'all next time. Peace.